Okay, so maybe you're thinking about checking out Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451,
But
but you're not really sure if it's worth the time.
yeah, I mean, everyone's busy, right? There are so many books out there.
Right. That's why we're doing this deep dive.
Exactly.
We're going to be analyzing reviews.
We'll compare it to some other dystopian novels you might have read.
Yeah. Like 1984 or Brave New World.
And ultimately help you decide if this book is the one for you.
So, no more suspense. Should we add Fahrenheit 451 to our reading list? What's the verdict?
Okay, here it is, straight up. Fahrenheit 451, it's definitely worth reading.
Okay.
But UT, and this is a big but, it's more of a thought-provoking allegory than a perfectly structured novel, Okay. So think of it as like a springboard for discussion.
Okay.
Not necessarily a literary masterpiece.
Interesting. So it's got substance.
Yeah.
Maybe not so much style. What about the writing itself? I've heard it can be a little descriptive.
Yeah.
Maybe even a bit over the top for some people.
Yeah, Bradbury's style, it's very poetic, very metaphorical.
Okay.
He really uses language to paint these incredibly vivid images, particularly when he's describing fire, nature, or destruction.
Right.
Take this line, for example. The books went up in sparkling whirls and blew away on a wind turned dark with burning.
Wow.
You can almost see it, right? The pages turning to ash.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah.
But I can also see how that could be a bit much for some readers.
Right.
Especially if you're looking for a fast-paced, plot-driven story.
Sure. And you know what? There are a lot of reviewers who agree with you.
Yeah.
Some people find his style distracting, and it slows down the story for them.
Right.
One reviewer even called it purple prose,
Ooh.
implying that it's overly ornate, Yeah. Maybe even a little pretentious.
Right. So if I'm the kind of person who prefers, a more straightforward style,
Yeah.
this might not be for me.
It might not be your cup of tea, no.
No, content-wise.
Yeah.
I got to be honest. I always thought Fahrenheit 451 was just about, censorship.
Right.
But you mentioned it's an allegory.
Yeah.
So what's Bradbury really trying to say here?
Yeah, he's definitely tackling more than just, the burning of books.
Okay.
Bradbury himself actually said that the novel is really about how television can, dull our minds.
Interesting.
And distract us from really engaging with literature and ideas in a deeper way.
Okay.
And think about Mildred,
Yeah.
Montag's wife. She's
Yeah.
completely absorbed by those parlor walls,
Right.
which are essentially giant interactive TVs.
Yeah.
She kind of represents, the extreme end of that passive entertainment lifestyle.
And that was written in the 50s.
Exactly. Think about it. That was written in the 50s.
Kind of scary how relevant that is now with all our smartphones and streaming and everything.
It is, and one reviewer even said Bradbury predicted the Internet of Things.
Wow.
But the book goes even deeper than that, right? It explores themes of conformity and the search for meaning in life and what it actually means to be human in a world that's so driven by technology.
Right.
And that's where the allegorical aspect really comes in. He's using this exaggerated dystopian society as a way to kind of hold up a mirror to our own.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So
it's not just about this fictional world, it's about us.
Okay, so intriguing writing style,
Mm-hmm.
super relevant themes.
Yeah.
What about the world building itself?
Yeah.
Does it hold up as a believable dystopia?
Well, that's where some of the criticism comes in.
Okay.
So, overall premise is compelling.
Yeah.
A lot of reviewers felt like some of the details were kind of lacking.
Yeah.
For instance, the rules for why books are banned are never really fully explained.
Oh, interesting.
We know that books are seen as dangerous and divisive.
Yeah.
But the how and why of it all isn't totally clear.
Yeah, I could see how that would be frustrating.
Yeah.
If you're the kind of reader that likes a really well-developed and logical dystopian world.
Right. You want to know all the rules, how everything works.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Mildred also, as a character,
Right.
gets a lot of criticism.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
For being what?
For being kind of one-dimensional.
Oh, okay.
Almost a caricature of someone, consumed by shallow entertainment.
But doesn't she, kind of serve a purpose?
Right.
Isn't her whole deal to show us how bad things could get
Right.
if we let technology just totally take over our lives?
That is a very good point.
Right.
She's definitely a cautionary figure.
Yeah.
But some readers felt like her lack of depth makes the downfall of that society a little less believable.
Okay, I see that.
You know what I mean? Like, why would everyone just go along with this if that's the end result,
Right.
So it's a valid criticism for sure.
Before we move on to comparing it to other books, there's one character I got to ask about.
Okay.
Captain Beatty.
Yeah.
So he's the fire chief.
That's right.
But he seems to know a lot about literature.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird.
It is.
Considering his job is literally burning books.
It's very strange.
So what's up with that?
Captain Beatty, he's a fascinating character.
Yeah.
He's a great example of this internal conflict between knowledge and suppression.
Okay.
And his motivations are, kind of a bit of a mystery.
Right.
He quotes classic literature.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's leading the charge against it. It's almost as if he's wrestling with his own, intellectual demons.
It makes you wonder if, like, deep down, he actually believes in the power of books.
Right.
But feels trapped by the system that he's a part of.
Exactly. He's a walking paradox. He really is.
Wow.
And you know what? His presence in the novel, I think, raises a lot of questions about the nature of power and conformity, and also about the seductive allure of censorship, right? Even for those who, kind of understand its dangers. So I think he adds this layer of complexity to the story that a lot of reviewers really appreciated.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we've covered writing style, content, world building.
We have.
All pretty nuanced, it seems.
Yeah.
But how does Fahrenheit 451 measure up against these other famous dystopian novels?
Yeah.
You mentioned 1984 and Brave New World.
Yeah.
And I noticed a lot of the Goodreads reviewers are making those comparisons too.
They are. They're natural comparisons to make. So let's start with 1984. Okay. Both books, they depict these totalitarian regimes that control information and try to suppress individuality. Right. But Fahrenheit 451 is much shorter. Okay. And I would say less politically intricate than, Orwell's masterpiece, 1984. It's really a deep dive into, the mechanics of a surveillance state, whereas Fahrenheit 451, it's more focused on the individual's struggle and the power of ideas.
So Fahrenheit is more about the human element. 1984 more about the political machinery.
I think that's a really good way to put it.
Okay.
Now, Brave New World is interesting.
Okay.
Because it explores a very different kind of dystopia.
Right.
It's not about overt oppression so much as it's about engineered happiness, Yeah. So people are kind of conditioned to be content through genetic engineering, mood-altering drugs, and a culture of instant gratification and pleasure.
Okay.
So how does that connect to Fahrenheit 451?
Right. Because they seem pretty different.
They do seem very different on the surface.
Yeah.
I think what links them is this exploration of how technology can be used to control and manipulate people.
Oh.
In Brave New World, it's through biotechnology and conditioning.
Right.
In Fahrenheit, it's through mass media.
Okay.
And the suppression of critical thinking.
Right.
So both novels are raising these really important questions about the potential downsides of technological progress.
Okay.
And, the importance of individual agency.
Okay, so we've got some pretty heavy themes going on here.
We do, yeah.
But honestly, sometimes dystopian novels can be kind of a downer.
Yeah.
Is Fahrenheit 451 all doom and gloom?
Yeah. Is there any hope?
Or is there a glimmer of hope in there somewhere?
Well, it's not all doom and gloom.
Okay, good.
There's definitely a glimmer of hope. Okay. Remember those book people that Montag encounters?
Oh, yeah.
They live outside of the city.
Okay.
And each one of them has memorized a book in order to preserve it.
Okay.
For the future.
Oh, yeah. The living libraries.
Yes.
Exactly. I remember that from some of the reviews.
It's a powerful image, right?
It is.
This idea that even in a world where physical books are gone,
right,
the love of knowledge, the desire to keep those stories alive can still endure.
That's pretty inspiring.
It speaks to the resilience of the human spirit, I think, and the enduring power of literature.
And it's not even just about preserving the past.
Right.
It's about carrying those ideas forward.
Exactly.
To build a better future.
It is, yeah.
Which makes me think about something you said earlier.
Yeah.
That Fahrenheit 451 is more of a springboard for discussion
Yeah.
than like a perfectly crafted novel.
Right.
And I'm starting to see what you mean.
Yeah.
It's not just about like telling a story.
Right.
It's about making us think critically
Right.
about our own world
Exactly.
and the choices that we're making.
It is. And that kind of brings us back to that question of like,
Yeah. Is this book worth your time?
right.
And if you're looking for like a pure escape, just a really fast-paced thriller
Okay.
with like a clear hero and a clear villain,
Right.
this might not be the best choice.
Okay.
But if you're looking for a book that will stay with you
Yeah.
long after you finished it, a book that will spark conversations, maybe even make you question the world around you a little bit,
Yeah.
then Fahrenheit 451 is, it's worth checking out.
It's not light reading,
No.
but it's a rewarding read.
It is. I think that's a great way to sum it up.
I think so too.
And I think for me,
Yeah.
one of the most thought-provoking things about this whole book is that idea of like having to choose one book
Right.
to memorize and carry with you.
Right.
If you lived in this world where books are forbidden,
Oh, wow.
it really makes you think about like
It does.
what knowledge is truly essential.
Yeah,
It makes you really appreciate the books we have.
it does. Right. And what stories have the power to like
Yeah.
really shape who we are as people
Yeah.
and what ideas we want to pass on to future generations.
I think that's a perfect note to end on.
It is. Yeah.
A final thought to leave our listeners with
Yeah.
as they consider whether or not they want to add Fahrenheit 451
Exactly.
to their reading lists.
I hope you enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
It's been a great discussion.
Yeah, this has been a fantastic deep dive into Fahrenheit 451.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
And until next time, happy reading.